would say all you need is some reminders that you are already conscious of the moment, to tell you the truth. Okay?
I don't know. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I would say that I have an incredible amount of faith in mind. I believe if mind is given the possibility, it can entertain it. If it hasn't heard it, it won't be able to entertain it. But if it hears it, it can entertain it. That's what happened with me. Someone shared something with me, and it dropped in a new possibility in my little head. And the possibility was, hey, you're not that. As soon as I entertained I wasn't that, I started to have what? Freedom from it, yeah? And then from the freedom, I realized why I could never have freedom, because I was identified as what I'm not. So my desire to have freedom was co-opted, and I was trying to become free as this mental process, yes? I was trying to become free for the mental process, yeah? So all the nobility of my seeking was ignorantly directed in my experience personally, yeah? And what happened is when it shifted, I knew the quote-unquote problem by the solution, by the relief of having that identification weakened. I put together that when the identification was strong, that must have been the cause of the irritability and the restlessness and discontent, because the irritability and restlessness and discontent isn't there anymore, yeah? So it just was obvious that what was there when I was irritable, restless, and discontent, and what's not there when I'm at peace, maybe that was the cause of the irritability, restlessness, and discontent, and its absence is in a sense the cause of the peace. It's not causing the peace was available, but its absence is why the peace is available, yeah? And I continued to entertain that, and it kept verifying itself in my daily living, yeah? Traveling lighter. and in fact, it's sort of like I told this thing the other night, and it's just a description, but it has a big meaning in my life, where when I was younger, I was involved in a lot of looking, and so I heard about, I lived in America, and there was a big sweat, Indian sweat, that was going to happen in this mountain called Mount Shasta, a very holy mountain. And I had never done a sweat, never even heard of one really, but a woman got invited and she wanted me to go up, so I went up there. And they brought in a real Indian, and they built the whole sweat, and it was a big giant meeting. It happened only once a year, so a lot of people that were really involved in this movement were coming, yeah? So I got in there, they built this huge thing, and I got in, and then they have the rocks and the heat, and they had these rafters, so it almost, I grabbed on like a subway, holding on to the subway, you know? And then the flap went down, you couldn't see a damn thing, and all the other people that had been standing sat down because the heat rises, yeah? I didn't know that I was supposed to sit down. I'm standing there, and I'm burned, my inside of my arms are burning, my nostrils are burning, and I can't even sit down because people are already in that space, and I'm just dying. I'd do anything to fucking get out of this thing, you know? And so they finally let the flap open, I run out, I jump into the stream, and I go back in and suffer the same situation, but not this time. I'm sitting down, and the waves of heat just coming off. I was praying more than I ever prayed, Indian, please don't throw any more water on those rocks. Because it felt like a wave. I was like going like this, trying to stop it, and it would hit you. Boom! I was like, let me out. And so, okay, but I stayed with her the whole weekend. A few years later, let's say my mind shifted a little bit, and my friends were involved with Native American thing, and they wanted to have a sweat at this guy's house, and they brought an Indian from Oklahoma and everything, yeah? And he wanted me to support him, so I went up there to support him. And they built the thing, but there was only 9 people. And so I went in there, and I sat down there, and I was waiting, and as soon as I felt it was hot, there was the recognition it's hot, I got right up and left. To me, this was incredible progress, to tell you the truth. And I could hear them moaning and praying inside. I had all the soda and the drinks outside. It was a beautiful night. What shifted? My head had shifted. Before I thought, you know, I have to work, I have to purify, I have to put up with all this stuff so I can arrive at some awakening. It was shown to me personally to be bullshit. That's all. And it had actualized because I had the clear ability to have a clear recognition. Hey, it's hot, I'm getting up. It was worth 800 pages of scriptures, I'm serious. I was like, wow, this is the way I'd rather live. Yeah? I would. And I could never have practiced myself into that. No freaking way. I would be in those sweats still. I'd be doing like an 8-month, torturous tantric, therapeutic, whatever, mud bath retreat, which is fine and dandy. But what wasn't fine and dandy was the mental process's intent. It was believing fervently that something was really inherently wrong with you, and the only way that was going to be changed was by a lot of doing and having. Yeah? And if you did enough and had enough, maybe it would stabilize instead of just disappearing when you left the retreat in 2 days. But maybe one day it would stabilize and you would feel free and at ease and comfortable in your own skin. Yeah? It didn't work for me over years. Yeah? So when I heard this message, I was keen. I heard it. I was keen with it. And what was beautiful is it's turned out to be the last answer for me. Yeah? And I've met some really good solutions in the past, but I always wanted to apply newer ones in this. This one just stopped me in my tracks. And it was about entertaining it and exploring it and celebrating it, not attempting to achieve it anymore. Yeah? And it may not be for you. You may not like that. You may have a really ardent desire to have super enlightenment or enlightenment. I don't know. I thought I wanted all that, but as soon as I had a deep level of satisfaction and contentment, all of that went out the window. So I actually came to believe what I was really looking for is what I got, which is contentment. I wasn't looking for enlightenment or transcendence. All I wanted was an ease and comfort throughout my day with you and myself, and it's worked. So therefore, job's done. Now enjoy, That's why I like this message in a way, because it's not a modality in and of itself. You can't practice what we're talking about here. Because we're talking about, in an extreme sense, they try to title it non-duality, but non-duality itself is a negation. There's no thing called non-duality. It means not to. It's attempting to sort of negate something we're assuming to be so, which is just a dualistic expression. It's the world isn't either or. That's how it seems to be to our mind, yes? The mind has a dualistic programming, so it sees everything in black and white, yes and no, high and low, connected, disconnected. Yeah? It's saying not to. That's all it's saying. It's a negation. So when someone says, I'm going to a non-duality meaning, where? Where is the fucking non-duality meaning? There isn't one. It's a duality meaning. It's about describing and teaching what we're not. It's not about teaching we're non-duality. That's impossible. How can you teach that? But you definitely can share what you're not. And hopefully you'll identify with that sharing of what you're not, and maybe you'll entertain, hey, maybe I'm not that. And if I'm not that, you know what? Sooner or later you're going to find out, in a sense, what you are. You're not going to know it, but you're going to find it out. It's sort of like, it's going to be, instead of having someone paint the canvas, something's going to bleed from the other side of the canvas out. And you're going to find out the picture by looking, seeing, feeling, tasting, touching, like that. You're going to know on a level of being. Yeah. To me, that's very convincing. Things are put down to rest. No more debate, No more, at a lot of the meetings I do, people say, it's really incredibly easy right now, but. The world starts with but. You ever hear that? Every time everyone's ever shared, they'll acknowledge, the light, it's so easy and peaceful, but, yeah? And this is the appearance becomes real again. And then it eclipses the possibility, yes? Why not just let the possibility alone? Realize that nothing is the gift that keeps on giving. Stop making it something. And if you keep making it something, entertain you're not that which is making it something. And you'll still be able to see nothing. Yes? If you're not that which is making it something, you'll still be able to sense nothingness. Yeah? You don't have to wait for that thing to be convinced it's not you. It's a mental process. Why are are we waiting for it? It's never going to catch up. It doesn't have the ability to embrace nothing. All it has the ability to is make something. That's what it does, yeah? It makes something all day. It doesn't have an ability to put its technology down, to put its patterns down, to put its formats down. But if you're not that, it's as if that's what happens, yeah? Your attention and interest moves from that bondage or slavery to self, and that same thing that was driving you crazy at night where you can't shut off and you keep seeing all those thoughts about you, that same attention and interest, when freed from that, is what is like called abidance in truth. Now you're resting in truth. It's the same energy, same attention, it's just where it is. Yeah? If it's given over to the mental realm, your attention's going to be on what's not here quite a lot. Yeah? You're going to be attending to the past, and you're going to be worried about a future. But no matter how much you think about it, you can't bring that here. All you can do is evoke feelings and sensations and contraction here. The mind can play God in this little arena, but it can't bring the future here. So what's to do, you know? Maybe you'll hear 58 satsangs or 800 satsangs, and one night you'll be leaving the satsang hall and you'll stub your toe, and something, aha, will happen. Who the hell knows? Yeah? But I know, in a sense, my own experience with it, that the solution, its main quality, as it demonstrates here, is timelessness. Yeah? It doesn't take time. Like much time does it take to realize what's not happening isn't happening? It doesn't take any time, does it? If my head, if the thought system, with my attention following it, is running into the past year or the future, trying to seed a fucking crop of anxiety, yes? What's the germinating factor? Is it the thoughts or is it the attention? And why does the attention go there? I think it's because there's a belief it's about you. And there's a fascination. The mental process is fascinated with what it's making. It's like we read a thing this night, and in some Buddhist text they talk about the cherishing of self. Yeah? Sort of almost like a strange love and fondness for it the mental process has. Yeah? So the attention goes willy-nilly wherever the fixed object called the body is placed in time on the mental realm. The attention runs after those thoughts, runs after these thoughts, but the face is it's on a track. It can only go past and future. At this point, it can only imagine the scenery. It has no time to see it. It's just choking back and forth, back and forth. How are you going to enjoy life? If peace showed up right now and you had the mentality, what if it leaves tomorrow? Is that enjoyment of peace? Yeah? If peace, the thing maybe we're working really hard to get, if it showed up, our mind wouldn't be able to enjoy it because the mind would be worrying when it was going to leave. Yes? But what would happen if you were weaned from that mental realm and the past and future didn't outweigh this moment? We want to call it this moment now, right? What would happen if your attention never left this ball of what's happening? Didn't follow all the throws that were, what if, what was, what if, but just stays on point and just watches the ball right now. It would have immunity to all those other mental ball games, yeah, where you're always going to lose just by playing the game, literally. Your attention is the enriching factor of your life. If it's not here, have to live by memories. Talk about how great it was, but you weren't really there in a sense. You know? But if you're here, the memories aren't that important anymore because you've lived this point fully, because you realized you couldn't have done anything else, no matter how it looks, no matter how your mind wants to judge how lacking you were. This was it. That should cue the Kenny Loggins song. This is it. Make no mistake who you are. This is it.
But whose attention is it then?
Doesn't matter whose it is. No, it's just attention.
Attention.
Yeah, attention. Do you think that attention has like physical qualities?
No,
Can you run out of it? Is it a certain quantity?
no, no.
So what its
Just-
nature is more of no-thingness, right?
Right. Energy, they say.
Yeah, like energy.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more akin to no-thingness than thingness.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it doesn't seem like this is doing the attention, like a thing isn't issuing the attention.
No, but,
No.
but I can sort of, if you tell me, I mean, if I can sort of, I think that I,
Yes, exactly. But the attention just goes there. But the
No,
story
but-
is I did it. Yeah. Yeah.
but if you tell me now, put your attention to this plant, or look, you know, I do it, I direct it, or who directs it?
You would. So
No,
if
I
I
don't know.
tell you to
Who does?
pull out $50 and give it to me, will you do that? No?
No, but,
I know. The feeling, because
Like-
it goes in a direction, it really feels like there must be someone that's
Somebody,
going in
yeah,
that direction. That's the sense of selfing, isn't it?
yeah.
That's the flavor it always gives, all of its claiming.
Mhm.
So like when it claims, let's say if, like, they even have it, you know, in neuro research, yeah, that the baby doesn't come. It takes about 18 months usually for the baby to have the sense of self to kick in, yeah? And it usually coincides with the language center working, which is what actually supports the sense of self the rest of your life. That's the trance setting, is language, yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah, because a language is a subjective language used by objects. So the object assumes it's a subject by the trance of the language. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so 18 months. So in a sense, the baby was there, you know, in all intents and purposes before it even knew it was there.
Yeah.
Consciousness or something was moving through, and the baby had attention. So when you went, hey, and they had no idea what, probably, when you said, hey, boobala or something, or baba, and then it looked, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think there was someone there that did that? No, obviously.
No.
No. But let's see. All right, so let's say maybe it's a process of mind, yeah? And the process is, let's say the process, first there's conscious contact, the mental process arises, it claims it, says I'm the one who's seeing. And once it claims that, it now tells a story about the seer and the seen, yeah? And it riffs on that. But by the time conscious contact is claimed, you're already off of square one. Square one would be conscious contact, right? Now you're at, I'm the one who's gone to contact, yeah? But this feeling of being you that's produced, let's say by the third square, it takes from the first square to the third square to
Yeah.
have that feeling of you. The feeling is you're prior to the first square, that you're the one who's conscious, that you're the one who's doing everything, that you're the one who has
Yeah,
everything,
so-
yes? That's the feeling, and also the feeling historical. You feel like you were there before anything happened. Like you're just someone that's waiting to react, yeah? That's a feeling. It's produced for you. That's produced. Do you believe, it's, the mental process is remembering you. That's what it does. By all the claiming, what it does by claiming an act or a feeling or a thought, it conjures up the remembering of you, of Paul. Yeah? And it uses the future to remember you. It's not just past. When it pictures you in the future, it's using that, you know, those thoughts about you in the future to remember you now. Yeah? That's the bondage of self. It's an activity. It's not a fucking thing that happened 20 years ago. It's happening. The mental process is happening. As long as conscious contact is occurring, the mental process is attempting to claim it. Yeah? So as soon as you don't sense the conscious contact, what happens? Consciousness may become a goal you're really seeking for. Yeah? But the whole point is you are that. It's like the third square now gets this real, to me, a drag. I think they should have meetings for spiritual seekers, really, like alcoholic meetings. It should be Spiritual Seekers Anonymous, you know? They have spiritual seeker rehabs. No
Yeah,
DVDs, no satsangs, nothing. Just maybe, you know, doing ordinary things, you know what I mean? Like maybe being intimate with their partners and whatever. Yeah, we really should, because it's an illness of mind. It truly is. It's unbelievable. When I first started doing these talks, I was coming out AA. I was always compelled to speak in front of AA because I know they're fucking suffering. I came from there. But when I first came to people who were quote-unquote normal and satsang, wasn't coming up because I thought they were fine. I thought you people were fine. You have no fucking problems compared to these people I know. They're fucking crazy. I had people at satsang meetings where they were talking about their experience of homelessness. And know what it was? They had bought a new house, they locked themselves out, and they had to stay on their porch that night. They believed that was homelessness. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was looking at the guru, and then this lady, and everyone's going, oh, you know, the whole emotional, and I finally said, fuck, I gotta see who this is. You know, because I know homelessness, you know what I mean? It's not having to, you know, lock yourself out of your new house and sleep on the porch. It means you don't have a place to sleep, you know, whatever. So, you know, I think it would be good to have meetings. I swear, really. I swear, because I see people, whatever. What I actually see, my sense of it is, they want to have an experience of their own absence. They want to be there when they get it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ain't going to happen. You're not going to be there when you get it. That overriding sense of you is going to lose its influence. And that's it. It's like when the moon wanes, the sun shines. Yes?
Yeah.
The moon isn't going to know the sun. Yes?